All right, we are back and we're doing more family stories, and it's Dad's turn or Grandpa's turn to talk about the early days, growing up, and what he remembers growing up. And you just take it away. Tell us about your childhood and experiences there, Dad.
I was born while my father was a student at what was then Bone Break Seminary in Dayton, Ohio, now United Seminary.
Where you ended up going to seminary, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
and I was born in the country in Seneca County, uh, where Peg's, where Mom's folks and Dad's folks lived, and doctor delivered me at the house, proceeded to not get the birth certificate filed for a while, and then when he did, the courthouse burned down. uh, my dad, after seminary, was appointed to 3 churches in the United Brethren Church, Rawson, Pleasant View, and Olive Branch. We lived in a little parsonage in Rawson, Ohio, near the Nickel Plate Railroad, and Dad served those churches for 3 years, went on vacation before annual conference to uh, my uncle's garage, took his car up there to be a lube oil filter, was standing in the open door of that garage on a sunny summer day, and a guy too much under the influence was shooting target behind that garage, and a stray bullet hit Dad. He was taken to the hospital, and a couple days later died. Probably today he would have been able to live. But at 5 years old, I was asleep on my Grandma and Grandpa Wilson's sofa and awoke to the words that my father had been shot. And so at 5 years old, my dad was dead. My mother continued to live in Rawson, where she taught second grade in elementary school for a whopping $1,000 a year. We rented a little house for $7.50 a month, shared it with another teacher. It had no bathroom or either, so we had a house in the path. That was a scary thing when you had to go to the bathroom in the night. So I would hurry out, I would bar the door, I would do my business, and I would listen. And when it was quiet, I thought, I will now throw open the door and run to the house and get in the house before any evil sources out there were aware of what I was doing. Mother was very strict. I could play with my friends, but we'd play for a half hour or an hour, and for some reason, she thought I couldn't be playing outside without an undershirt on Sunday. It was okay on other days. And a treat was to go to Findlay to a movie. She liked Sonia Henney and Shirley Temple, so we saw a lot of those movies. We'd get a Sunday at Dietz's, and Broadway sandwich shop had hamburgers just a little bit cheaper than Wilson's, and they were just as good. So we usually go there.
How much were they?
And
You remember how much a hamburger was?
yeah, it was a quarter at Wilson's and 20 cents at Broadway. My mother and I kept going to the same church Dad had pastored. All the people at the church were very nice to me, and they said all the wrong things, like only the good die young, and in my mind I thought, well, I wish Dad hadn't been so good. God needed him. Well, Mother and I needed him too. And they asked me if I was going to be a minister. I told them in no uncertain terms no. I had no particular reason. But then, just before my 10th birthday, Mother remarried Brownie Benner, and we moved to the country. And then I didn't even have the few friends that I had in Rawson to play with regularly. It was Buster Bulldog and me, and Buster was my good friend, ugliest dog in the world, but very sweet. And then Buster even got hit by the neighbor's car and knocked an eye out, so the ugly dog got uglier. We had no running water. We had no bathroom there. So Saturday night we'd get in a big wash tub outside the house, out of the sight of anybody, for the Saturday night baths. Our house was not heated with a furnace, but with a hard coal burner. We had no electricity. We had our house was lit with kerosene lamps. It was a great day when the REA brought electricity to our community.
Now, is this the same location that those of us know as Grandma Benner's farm, or a different location?
No.
Okay.
This was a smaller place.
Okay.
And we lived there for probably 3 years, and then bought the place that you know as home for Grandma Benner, and then moved there, and it was a happy, we didn't have a bath there for several years. It was a happy day when we put a bathroom in, and finally had a bathroom in the house. Life was interesting. I was pretty much free labor. Brownie and his brother Orrin would farm together. We'd help him and he'd help us. And Brownie never paid me anything for the work. And Orrin, one summer gave me 50 cents, and one other summer gave me $3, and the other summers gave me nothing.
And that was from age 10 to what?
Till I went to college at age 20. And I was free labor. I worked hard on, we used to mow hay under the hot tin roof. We'd shovel grain. We would pitch bales of hay. Before that, we mound the hay. Then we had buck rates, and that was the exciting thing. They put a thing on the back of a older car. You go out and back up and pick the hay up, pull it up, drive it in the barn, drop it, go get another load. That was a fun thing when I was driving that car for the buck race.
This is also where you developed your distaste for pigeons, correct?
Oh my, the dirty pigeons. And I got a BB gun. I would spend time trying to shoot sparrows and pigeons. A BB gun, you're hardly ever successful with a pigeon. Once in a while you get sparrows. But yes, I would do my best, but I never did bring a pigeon down, I don't think. My days on the farm were lonely days. They were hard days. But I was there because I was there.
So you went to college at 20, so you worked some on the farm, then went to college at Bluffton College.
Brownie had said to me that the house and lands would be mine if I stayed on the farm. When I graduated from high school, I thought about law. I had an offer from the FBI, but I stayed on the farm. And then when I sensed a call to ministry, the hardest thing in the world was to tell Brownie, who really wasn't very religious except when he was going to church to court mother. And when I told him I was going into ministry, he looked at me and said, "You damn fool, you'll starve to death." Well, I didn't.
You made it through.
And I had to pay my own way, but I did live at home and commuted to Bluffton.
What did you study at Bluffton?
my major was sociology, my minor was philosophy, and then,
And you were serving a church at the same time, right?
yeah, the Blue Lake Church. I went there when I had all 6 hours of college under my belt. I declared for ministry in March. The superintendent said, you get in school right away, so I went to summer school. At Bluffton, they had 3-hour courses that you took 3 hours a day for 3 weeks. The second of those courses was right before annual conference, and Joe Graham, who was serving the Blue Lake Church, was getting married. He asked if I would preach for him at Blue Lake the weekend he got married. And I was glad to. I'd go anywhere to preach. So that was the Sunday before conference. And so at conference, the delegate from Blue Lake said to Dr. Allman, the superintendent, wait, do you have anybody for us? And Dr. Allman said, well, I thought I did, but it fell through. And the guy said something like, well, how about the guy who was out there last Sunday? He wasn't that bad.
He didn't say that.
And so
that's how it got
I
going.
got called in and went to Blue Lake, got $900 in the coin of the realm as it came in, a bag of money, $75, $5 bills, dollar bills, quarters, nickels, dimes. I did so well, I got $1,000 the second year. They were going to increase that to $1,300 when we were married. So Peggy and I rented an apartment in Bluffton upstairs, 12-foot high ceilings, spent the summer painting and painted in the heat. And then before conference, some folks from Benton Ridge Circuit in our own backyard, had a horrible experience the year before, and they came to talk to me with the permission of the superintendent. We had a nice conversation. I told Dr. Allman, I said, I'll be glad to stay at Blue Lake. I'll be glad to go to Benton Ridge Circuit. Your call. Didn't know till they announced the appointments whether I was going to Blue Lake or to Benton Ridge Circuit. One dear lady at Blue Lake looked me in the eye after that appointment was announced and said, I knew you were just in it for the money.
You had told us that story before. That's a great one. I'm going to close it out with one last thing to have you talk about how you felt your call to the ministry. You said, when you were asked as a child growing up, do you want to be a minister like your dad? And you said, oh, no, 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 no. And you had these other things you considered. Talk about how that worked for you.
My own lasting commitment happened when we hosted a midwinter youth retreat at our home church there in Rawson. And as a result of that commitment, I said, Lord, I'll be anything you want me to be but a minister. So I did anything, everything. I was Sunday school superintendent at a very early age, and that was an important position in the church at that time. And finally, it got through my hard head that God wanted me to be a minister, so I finally said, okay, Lord, anything, even a minister. And that's when it came clear, and that's where it all began.
So that was right around the age of 20 or a little before that? Right around there?
Just before I went to college.
All right.
That's what led me to go to college.
Great. All right. We're going to stop it there and pick up with some other stories later on.